What if everything I'm working toward doesn't exist? What if I made it up? I have this image in my head, clear, detailed, almost embarrassingly specific. The kind of life that has textures. Not just goals, not just numbers, actual textures. What the morning looks like, what the work feels like when it's finally working, what it means to have built something real enough that people you love can stand inside it. I have had this image for a long time now, and recently, I don't know exactly when, a question showed up that I haven't been able to get rid of. What if it isn't real? Not like, what if I fail to build? That's different question. That one I'm okay with sitting in. This one is different. This one asks, what if the vision itself is wrong? What if the whole thing is a story I started telling myself at some point and got so deep into it that I forgot I was the one who wrote it? That's the question that has been sitting with me, and I think it's worth saying out loud. Let me try to describe what the vision actually is, because I think when people talk about vision, it sounds abstract. Future self, dream life, goals, those words have lost weight from being used too much. Mine is specific. There's a business, multiple actually, not as fantasy, as a direction. There are people whose life I want to impact, not just financially but structurally. Schools, hospitals, real thing with addresses and name and people walking through them every day. There's a vision of me that is calm, not because nothing is hard, but because the foundation is solid enough that hard things don't shake the whole structure anymore. I can see it. The way you can sometimes see something in your peripheral vision, and when you to look at it directly, it moves. But it's there. I know it's there. The question is, did I see it because it's real, or did I build it because I needed something to walk toward and my brain is very good at constructing things that feel like truth? Here's what makes this genuinely uncomfortable to think about. I can tell the difference from the inside, and I have tried. I have sat with the vision and I tried to interrogate it honestly. Tried to ask, is this something you actually want or something you are supposed to want? Is this yours, or did you build it out of fear, out of ego, out of needing to be someone specific because being no one felt unbearable? And every time I do that, every time I try to look at the foundation directly, it holds. It feels real. It feels like mine. But that's exactly what it would feel like if it wasn't. That's the thing about self deception. It doesn't feel like deception, it feels like clarity. That's what makes it hard to locate. So I'm sitting with this genuine uncertainty, not performed uncertainty, the kind you put in a video to seem thoughtful, actually uncertainty about whether this thing I'm building toward is destination or a very convincing story I'm trapped inside. I still wake up at 5 a.m., still go to the gym, still work, still think about business, still plan, still move, not because I've resolved a question I didn't, but because at some point I realized that the question, real or not real, might be unanswerable from here, from this distance, from inside the process. Maybe you can know if a vision was real after you have lived enough to look back at it. Maybe clarity is something that arrives after, not before. And waiting for certainty before moving is just cleaner way of not moving. So I made a quiet decision, not dramatic, not a breakthrough moment, just I am going to build toward this thing even while not knowing if this is true. Because the alternative is standing still inside, and uncertainty and standing still doesn't resolve anything. It just adds time to not knowing. At least moving gives you information. At least trying gives you the vision, a chance to both either become real or reveal itself as wrong. Both outcomes are better than waiting. There's something else underneath this I want to name because I think the fear isn't really about the vision of you being wrong. The fear is what does it mean about me if it is? If the schools, the hospitals, the life I carry around in my head, if it all turns out to be something I invented to cope out with being ordinary, what does that say about who I am right now? About why I wake up early? About what this whole thing is actually for? And that question is harder because it's not about the future, it's about the present. It's about whether the identity I've built around the vision is real, even if the vision isn't. And I think it might be not because I proved it, but because the work feels honest even on the days the vision feels unstable. The discipline doesn't disappear whether the doubt shows up. The care doesn't evaporate, whatever is underneath the vision. The actual wanting, the actual trying, that seems to exist independent of whether the specific image in my head turns out to be the true. And maybe that's the only thing you can rely on. Not the image, but the person doing the work underneath it. I have thought about what it would look like to let the vision go. Just release it. Stop caring about the specific image. Stop planning towards something that might be invented. Live more in the present. Be more okay with not knowing what I'm building toward. And I can't do that. Not because I'm stubborn or not only because of that, but because the vision, real or not, does something functional that I haven't found a replacement for. It organizes the days. It makes the 5 a.m. make sense. It gives the discipline a direction that's bigger than discipline itself. Without it, I am not sure what I am optimizing for. Maybe that's dependency. Maybe that's unhealthy. I genuinely don't know. What I do know is that just removing the vision doesn't make me more grounded. It just makes me more directionless. And directionless with ambition is worse than uncertain with direction. So I keep the image, I keep building toward it, I keep the work ongoing while holding the honest possibility that I might be wrong about it. And somewhere in that, in the building toward something you can't prove, I think that just what this phase is, not delusion, not certainty, just movement inside uncertainty, which might be more honest version of faith there is. I don't know if the future I imagine is real. I know I can see it. I know it has weight. I know it organizes my mornings and my choices and the way I think about what any of this is for. But I can't prove it and I have stopped needing to because the question, real or not, assumes there's a vision of this that comes with guarantees. And there isn't. Not for anyone, not for the people who ended up building something great, and not for the people who didn't. Everyone is building toward an image they can't verify. The difference is just whether they admit it. I am admitting it, and I am still building anyway, not because I'm certain, because certainty was never actually on the table.